Hey guys, Dantix here. Doom the Dark Ages has been released, but I was lucky enough to play it early and 100% complete it. So I'm here to give you the best tips and tricks I wish I knew before I started. So let's get right into it with tip number 1. When you start a mission and have unlocked challenges, make sure to take a look at your menu and take note of exactly what challenges you have for the level you're on. You can pin them to your screen if you want to track them, and they will almost always impact how you play. For example, they might encourage you to play with a particular weapon or shield mod. If you finish a level on 99%, you might find that you actually missed a challenge. Thankfully, progress carries over, so restart the mission and you'll have less tasks to do to finish it. While you're on the menu, make sure to look at your map to see if there are any secrets or collectibles in the area. In fact, do this every time you get to a new section of the map. Many times you'll miss a secret area right next to you that you wouldn't have if you just kept diligent. Before you move on, you'll get an icon telling you if the next stage of your objective will be a point of no return. If so, make sure you've done everything you want to before moving on. Sometimes the last few secrets will be in the next section past a no return point, so don't stress too much. If you can't see anything unticked on your current map, move on. There might be a new powerful weapon just ahead of you. First though, equipping yourself with the most powerful arsenal is nothing if you don't equip yourself with the most powerful hardware. A fast-paced, graphically intensive game like Doom the Dark Ages is the perfect playground for the new PNY NVIDIA RTX 50 series graphics cards. I was lucky enough to get my hands on a 5090, and let me tell you, it's going to be hard to play any other way. RDTech 8 native ray tracing delivers next level graphics fidelity, speed and visuals. AI-powered DLSS 4 with multi-frame generation boosts FPS to insane levels. I was getting over 200 frames per second at a 4K resolution. Check out the link below. Okay, now that you've got the most powerful card, let's see it in action with the most powerful weapon. Ray stones are needed to fully upgrade weapons. They start off quite rare, so make sure you know which weapon you want to modify before spending them. I recommend checking out my weapon and mods guide below for a detailed explanation of all the weapons. By the end of the game, if you 100% each mission, you'll have enough to upgrade everything. But during the majority of the game, you won't have enough for all your tools. Rubies are a lot more common and are needed for the middle mod stages. That of course means that gold is used to upgrade the first few stages of your tools. I recommend upgrading your shield fully as soon as you get the resources to do so. You'll be using it all the time no matter what gear you have, and its upgrades are always useful. Why take the time to switch to a plasma based rifle for example when you can just shield throw those pesky energy shields? If you can, try to get good at getting headshots with the Impaler. You get it very early on and it does extreme headshot damage to the demons that are incredibly common on those stages. If you still struggle to aim, use your shield. Throwing it against tougher demons with no armor will stun them while the chainsaw rips and tears into them. While they're stunned, you can easily line up a headshot and profit. When you get good enough, you'll soon be weaving headshots between parries and enjoying the high burst damage needed when brawling. Don't forget, finishes will give you health, melee attacks will give you ammo, and lighting demons on fire will give you armor. There are a few ways to burn demons, one of which is upgrading your combat shotgun. Its upgrades focus on creating armor as you kill enemies. During my playthrough, I upgraded it first and did find that it made the game much easier, though a second time around I would upgrade the Impaler first. Another way of roasting demons is upgrading your flail weapon, which you get fairly early. All around, I think it's the best melee weapon to invest into, as when you use it, you'll be both stocking up your ammo and getting more armor, which is arguably better than getting health, as you take armor damage before you take health damage, therefore you usually be healthier than tanked up. The flail is also great at destroying armor on enemies, which is another thing that is difficult to do on higher difficulties, unless you use a particular weapon like the super shotgun or the chain shot. The chain shot comes a bit later and the super shotgun requires you to stay extremely close. It's usually not a fun place to be against a boss that won't get staggered. With the flail, you can get your quick strikes in and start strafing and parrying again. The final melee weapon you get, the Dread Mace, is fun, but don't save up for it because the wind up time might get you killed on higher difficulties and it doesn't have as many upgrade paths. So don't feel bad about dropping your resources into the flail. This goes without saying, but like I mentioned in my review, train yourself to see green. Green usually means go. Green on enemies means that it's soon time to parry. This is for both ranged attacks and melee. Green in the world means you can interact with it. Green walls can be burst through, and green dripping dudes means throw your shield. Green items mean armor and lives. Note that some walls that can be broken appear a faded blue just to be cheeky. If you're struggling with the parry window, don't feel ashamed to tune it. It's so important to the game that handicapping yourself will make your experience much worse. Difficulty can come from how much damage you take rather than how perfect you can hit a button. However, if you're an Ultra Nightmare stan and need the rush, you're going to want to try bumping those sliders up to their limit and go beyond what the regular Ultra Nightmare challenge provides. I lasted about 5 minutes, but I'm sure you'll do better. Note, there is a cosmetic reward for doing both of these things. Just remember, if you die once, your run is done for good. When it comes to enemy priority, I have a lot to say. Generally, your priority enemies are the ones that can slam you for big damage at range. Anything with a minigun, for example, like the chain gun soldiers with big shields, the cyber demons, and arachnotrons. Later on, you'll start seeing the cacodemons, and they need to be handled fast as well. All these, generally speaking, need to die first. Also, if you see a tank, parry that green blast first too, as they do get annoying. Fodder demons are easily dispatched with your shield throw or slam, so yes, don't bother too much with imps and soldiers or zombies. With shielded soldiers, you should just quickly take them out with a shield throw if the shields are heated or if they're energy based, because that will make your shield bounce around. Otherwise, leave them and come back when you've switched to a weapon that can rapidly heat their shields, like the combat shotgun. Regular imp stalkers are easy to deal with, so typically only bother with them if you see a green cross coming towards you, because parrying this ranged attack means you can instantly finish them after. Any weapon will do the trick at range, but the Impaler is usually a one-hit kill on the head, and the Super Shotgun is a single tap up close, which means you won't waste your time on them. This is the same for the Hell Knight, except you should wait until they charge in, parry, then take them out when they're vulnerable and staggered. They will charge through most weapon fire and damage you if you don't prep a parry. The Mancubus doesn't pose much of a threat until you start seeing the armored versions, which shoot out bullet hells that block incoming damage like a shield. Either case, you can ignore them until the end. A smart way to kill them though is to shield charge in, then parry their immediate ground slam attack, which they'll always do in panic. This opens them up to heavy damage. If they're armored, try the Super Shotgun or Chain Shot first. You want to stay at range against the Pinky Rider, parrying their attacks and finishing them when given the option. When Pinky is alone, it will charge you down with unparryable bites, so you want to be sure to be ready for that. All this to say you can more or less ignore them until you're forced to deal with them. Don't take out the Rider, then leave the Pinky on its own, or it will be an annoyance. With them both together, the range attacks aren't much of a problem. Cyber Demons, Agadon Hunters, Battle Knights, Cosmic Demons, Whiplashes, and Komodos are all about brawling. Getting close, melee, parry, melee, parry. The Cyber Demon will fire off a powerful minigun that will rip through your shield and health fast, so naturally you want to take care of this quickly. The others will relentlessly attack with melee, with only an occasional ranged attack, so you might be forced to deal with them sooner than you'd like, but usually get the high priority targets out of the way first. If they don't have armor, throw a shield in them to stun them and come back later. But usually want to save that for the softer targets that rely on you being distracted, like the Arachnotron. Against it, you want to shield charge in quickly or be overwhelmed by their ranged damage output. Remember, just holding up your shield will block damage for a short while until it runs out of charge down here. When up close, a few shotgun blasts or melee strikes will do it. Remember, if anything has armor, like this demon, you can heat it up with any weapon, then use your shield throw to bust it off. However, weapons like the Super Shotgun and the Chain Shot will bust up armor fast, like I mentioned. So get used to pressing your quick swap button to swap between a weapon you like, an all-purpose one, and something to bust armor. Once again, watch my video for more info. Then we have the Revenants. Just parry them and they'll unphase and be vulnerable to damage again. Be sure to use a weapon with fast projectiles, and definitely not the rocket or grenade launcher. Same with the Whiplashes, who also move very quickly. The Cacodemons are annoying at range, but up close they use unparryable melee attacks at a fast rate, so you want to take them out at range. Any sustained fire does the trick. Which leads me to which shield rune you should upgrade and use. These add an effect once you parry an attack. By far my favorite is the shoulder mounted auto turret. You can see it ripping through the Cacodemon here. It deals a huge amount of DPS, and unlike the daggers and the fissure, it's great for bigger targets. These are the ones that give you the most trouble. Heaven Splitter you get a bit later, but it's good for crowd control on higher difficulties. Adding the shocked effect increases your damage too, so it's a great rune, but there is something so satisfying about ripping through targets with a turret as a reward for parrying. I mentioned that holding up your shield will block damage. It works on most attacks, even the suicidal Lost Souls. When you block, you'll notice the bottom left of your shield bar will go down as you mitigate damage. Once it's depleted, you will not be able to block for a while, so tap your shield to stop damage coming, like from the red attacks that you can't dodge in time. But don't stand still and rely on the bar lasting against non-green attacks. Parrying does not drain this bar, so you can brawl fairly well as meleeing usually can be parried, but you can't hold the line. Keep moving in combat, look for the high ground, it adds safety from those projectiles, and you can also jump off heights to deal damage to everything around you. Simply landing hurts your enemies, but you can also Captain America shield slam down as well. Make sure when you're riding the dragon and go into assault mode that you watch out for which angle your enemy's green attacks will come at you. It's like that Japanese game show where you gotta jump through the shape at the right angle. If you miss the dodge, you won't get the bonus damage and won't destroy what you're attacking. You're required to get this bonus damage to progress at any decent pace. There are, as well, beams that fire after these directional green attacks, and they require you to tap dodge as the flash of green ends. It programs you to wait for the right angle to dodge, then it throws these at you. It's tricky like that, so be wary. In the Atlan mech, it's very straightforward. Dodge attacks and slam your enemies relentlessly. There really isn't much more to know. Finally, you might find these weird statues around a level. It's obvious, but destroying them gives you access to a prize, and you do so by throwing your shield at them. The prize is usually a race stone, which is required to upgrade a weapon fully. What you might not know, however, is that these statues are always very close to the reward area. If you see a section with 5 or so statues lit up, this is where you return to claim your prize. Look around the immediate area, off ledges, between buildings. Sometimes it can be difficult to see these statues unless you stop and look around. Unlike every other secret in the game, the statues won't show up on your map. The reward for finding and destroying all of them, however, is always worth it. So that's everything. Do you have any tips for us? Let me know below. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, ciao friends.